Okay, I am on page 14 in your checking account packet, and the title is Your Money Management System, so follow along while I read. Maybe the perfect money management system is to simply have so much money that you don't have to set up priorities and don't care about bank fees, credit card late fees, or your credit score. Unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. We're all resource limited and have to plan accordingly. Your money management system needs to be built around two things: a budget. This is simply your plan on how to use the money you have coming in to best achieve your financial goals. It helps set priorities, and it may help avoid sacrificing your key goals, which is buying a house or paying for education, to daily temptations, Starbucks, dinners out, etc., or impulse purchases. That's what a budget does. A cash management system, knowing how much money you have available to spend and avoiding purchases you can't afford and not wasting money on things like bank fees and late fees. So this booklet focuses on cash management, and so far we've just used the check register. The check register is about 200 years old and is low tech, but it works and it's free. Any searches are obviously manual. Math errors or missing transactions can lead to nasty surprises, and getting a good view of your spending history will require some work. You could easily create a computerized version of the check register using a simple spreadsheet. The first step up is the online system provided by your bank. It is accessible by computer and maybe your smartphone and is always up to date. Well, sort of. Your debit card and ATM transactions may show up immediately. Checks that you have written have to be deposited by the payee and then from his bank to your bank before your bank knows about them. Non-cash deposits by you will probably take 1 to 3 business days before they are fully available. You can make bill payments through the system. You avoid postage and can schedule the payment to occur in the future, for instance, when the bill is due or after your next paycheck. Unfortunately, your available balance does not include the impact of these future payments. Similarly, if you have set up pre-authorized payments with a third party, the bank will have no knowledge of these until they are presented for payment. Does the online bank account eliminate the need for a check register? Unfortunately, not. For the checks you write and deposits you make, the bank will only know the transaction date, the amount, the check number for a check you've written. It will not have the payee or why the check was written. If you know the number of the check you used to pay your landlord or a local tax, you can get a copy of the check from your bank to prove that you made the payment, but only if you know the number of the check. The next step up in cash management is something like Mint.com or Quicken. Mint.com is free, but has ads or suggestions, while Quicken is not free. Both have smartphone apps. Quicken data resides on your computer, while Mint.com uses the cloud, and both are produced by Intuit. Mint.com and Quicken can both download transactions from most banks. Mint.com requires that you have online access to your bank and uses your online login, while Quicken uses your bank's routing number and your account number to download data and can run as a manual offline program. Both look much like a check register, and you can add the payee and purpose of a check or the source of a deposit after downloading transactions from your bank. You can also add future payments that you have scheduled, and they are included in your balance. Both also encourage you to create categories like food, entertainment, and clothing, and then apply a category to each expense. By doing so, you can see graphs of how you have been spending your money. To assist in the expense analysis and budgeting process, both allow you to download the categorize your credit card purchases. This makes it even easier to analyze your spending habits, since you will see much more than just the single monthly payment you make to the credit card. The next step up is probably one you don't need yet, since it will cost about $10 a month. Using Quicken Bill Pay instead of your bank's online paying service, you simply enter the payment into Quicken using the date you want the payment to be made and specified send check rather than a check number. The amount will show up as a deduction from your balance on the payment date. Quicken will make the payment on the date requested and mark the check as cleared when the bank pays it. No further attention from you is required since all the information was entered when you set up the payment. Like your bank, Quicken allows you to set up regular, repeating payments. These payments show up in Quicken well before they are paid, so you get a preview of your spending and can be assured that you will have enough money in your account to cover your expenses. You have become a time lord. You can see what the bank knows, you can see the checks that you have written and have not cleared, and you can see the impact of the checks yet to be written. Quicken or Mint.com provide the capability to let you see your spending in a bit differently than just a string of numbers. The pie chart very quickly shows that the car and your rent are taking up most of your income, and your vacation took a pretty good bite as well. The monthly spending chart is not very encouraging. You took a major hit, $2,500 or $2,500 out of savings when you purchased the car and really haven't been able to build your savings back. Neither of these charts shows the $4,000 you borrowed for the car as either income or expense. They do reflect the money you took out of savings and the monthly payments on the loan. Another chart showing net worth would include the loan as a liability and the car as an asset. But would that be helpful? The question is whether you can reliably keep up the payments on the car as well as the maintenance. You really want to make sure you can stay out of the situation where you're using high interest debt. Cash advances on your credit cards are easy, but the interest is 25 to 29%. Or so-called payday loans, a loan you get to get you to your next paycheck, are also fairly easy to get and are legal in most states, but the fees charged can be the equivalent of paying more than 300% interest rate. If you are in a financial hole, these will only make it deeper, and don't pay anyone who says they can fix your credit score. Good advice. So what could possibly go wrong? Okay, you've set you've got everything set up. You can monitor your checking account from your computer and your smartphone. You've taken the appropriate steps to avoid identity theft. You got a credit card in August, and you plan to pay off the balance every month to avoid finance charges. Your check register the end of August was $405. You deposit your paycheck of $687.32 on September 1st and withdraw $120 in cash from the ATM. Your car payment of $152.86 hits on September 1st. On September 5th, you write check 112 to Jim Fisher for the office party, and on September 8th, you pay your electric bill of $43.55. On September 12th, you make an online payment of your Verizon bill and pay your Visa bill on the Visa website. $406.58 seems like a lot, but it was $110 to renew your internet service for 6 months, 2 new tires for your car, some groceries, and 1 meal from your vacation. Not irresponsible. On September 14th, you withdraw $80 in the ATM. You'll receive your paycheck on the 16th, so your account will have a comfortable margin. At 8 o'clock on the morning of the 16th, you get a text message from your bank that your account is overdrawn. You grab your check register, and it shows that you have a balance of $223.91. So you go online and look at activity since last statement. Here is what you see. You forgot the automatic quarterly insurance payment to KMT Insurance. They probably sent you a reminder that you would be deducting payment from your account, but you missed it. You should have entered it in your register as soon as you were notified. For each of the 3 transactions with a negative balance, the bank charged you a $35 fee. The bank actually did you a favor. They treated the insurance and Verizon payments as overdrafts. That means that the bank honored the payments on the assumption that you would make it up. They did, however, categorize a check to Jim Fisher as insufficient funds, often abbreviated NSF. That means the bank did not honor the payment and advised Jim Fisher's bank to reverse the the deposit in his account. In addition to incurring the $35 non-sufficient funds charge, you need to write Jim another check for $30 to replace check 112. You can also expect Jim to request that you reimburse him for the $20 returned item charge that he got from his bank. Banks process most transactions at night. Your bank processes the items received during a single day from the highest value to the lowest value on the basis that the high value items are more important to you. Some banks process from lowest value to highest value since this would minimize your overdraft charges. Had your bank processed lowest value first, only the Visa payment would have incurred the $35 penalty. If that were categorized as non-sufficient funds, your bank would have advised Visa that funds were not available. Visa would then charge you $25 to $35 return check fee. If you were unable to get them in a replacement payment by the payment due date, you would also incur a $35 late payment fee. Any introductory deal you had on the Visa card, maybe a 1 year without interest charges, will be canceled and you will immediately be shifted to the high-risk 29% interest group, and a late payment report will show up on your credit report. Under the original scenario, you would have incurred similar penalties from KMT Insurance had the bank treated the payment as non-sufficient funds rather than an overdraft. They really did do you a favor. Once you got the shock of realizing that you've just hit $105 in fees from your bank and probably paying another $20 for Jim, you might start to get annoyed. It was a $35 charge for the KMT Insurance payment overdraft, and that was only a $24.46 overdraft. And your total negative balance was only $61.21 since the bank reversed the payment to Jim. And you had a paycheck coming in the next day. But these are the rules, and while you may protect the bank more than they protect you, they are the rules you agreed to. Assuming you have been a good customer and this was the first time problem, you might talk to the bank about reducing or eliminating the penalties. And they might well do it too. But if this is a regular thing, don't bother. Many banks do offer overdraft protection where they will automatically shift money from your savings account or a line of credit to your checking account to cover the overdraft. You have to sign up for this, and it typically involves a fee for each transfer, but usually less than the overdraft fee, and it does save you from the late fee and or return check fees from the payee and will avoid the negative hits to your credit history. Bank overdrafts are not the end of the world, but they are expensive and they are avoidable. Unfortunately, young adults, like you, have the highest incidence of overdrafts of any age group. Avoiding them requires reasonable record keeping and living within your budget. So, yeah, take a look at that in green there, the box, and see how everything went south real fast and all the extra fees that were incurred. So it's important to always make sure you have money in your account and not run it too close to no money in your account.